Welcome to our show tonight. Oh my goodness, technical difficulty problems, but it's okay. We're gonna have a great show. We want to talk about what happens when abuse goes bad. What happens when abuse goes bad? Um, it seems like I'm really projecting very close here in this camera. I ain't trying to be that close, but you know what? It's okay. So listen, let's start with a prayer. Father, we thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to talk to so many people. Father, if we have one word that changes a life, then it was worth it all. We ask you bless each and every family, bless each and every relationship, and bless each person that has been challenged with some type of abuse in one's life. We give you glory for healing and deliverance in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Listen, what happens when you're in a relationship and it goes bad? What happens when it starts to turn south of the border? What happens when you're in a relationship and everything seems like all the sugar now is vinegar? What happens? What happens? Well, we're going to talk about all of that. But well, thank you so very much. Thank you. Again, thank you for joining us. We want to talk about abuse. For those of you who don't know, what in the world is abuse, right? Abuse can be for somebody anything that has been done to you that you don't like. What is abuse? It could be someone lying on you. It could be someone stealing, be someone calling you outside of your God given name. It could be any of those things. We're having technical difficulties here. I'm not to be so big on the screen. Um, so, excuse me if we're having technical issues tonight. So, it must be, if I can get my TV people to make me smaller, that would be awesome. We're having some challenges tonight. If you all can make me smaller, that would be great. So, what in the world is abuse? Let's look at what the definition of abuse is. According to the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, use something to bad effect or for a bad purpose. Misuse. The judge to abuse, to treat someone cruelty, to show some signs of violence, especially regularly or repeated abuse. Someone doing something to you over and over again. Over and over again. I hope you all can hear me, but we're having some difficulties right now. So thank you so very much for being patient and joining us. Listen, the enemy knows it's going to be a good nugget for somebody tonight, right? For someone. So, being misused. So what happens when a relationship goes bad between two individuals? What happens when everything that you have been dreaming of, everything that you have ever hoped for, you feel like you have in this individual? What happens when everything that you saw in the beginning of the relationship is nothing like it? What happens when that sweet, kind person becomes evil and mean? What happens when that person disrespects you? What happens when they talk down to you in front of others? What happens when they don't honor you in the household? Let's say you are married and the person is just not honoring you. And one thing that women don't like is when they've labored and slaved over the hot kitchen stove and their husband come in and either is not hungry, it said he ate outside because he ate with somebody else and he didn't tell his wife that he was going to have dinner with someone. What happens when she didn't know it? He didn't bother to communicate that. And so when he gets home, she has the table set. She's ready to serve her man because she knows that he likes home-cooked meals, right? What happens when he says, "Oh, I'm not hungry tonight"? He doesn't say he ate out, but she later finds out that he ate out. So how do you think this woman is going to feel when she took 3 hours out of her day to cook her man a nice home-cooked meal? You think that this is going to cause an argument? Do you think that this is going to cause issues or problems? Do you think that this is a cry out for something is going wrong in our relationship? And okay, so the man may ask his wife, he says, "I'm not hungry." So should he eat if he's not hungry? No, he shouldn't eat if he's not hungry, but he could have respected the wife's time and say, "Honey, I'm not going to be eating tonight. I had an opportunity to eat out." He could have said that. That would have made the wife feel so much better, and she would not be feeling like he doesn't care about her time. So you know what happens over a period of time when someone is misused, disrespected? It's like you hitting, taking a hammer and putting a hole in the side of a wall, and because you're trying to knock that wall down, and eventually, if you keep hitting the side of that wall, it's gonna fall underneath the pressure, underneath damage. So when you're in a relationship and you're married, you could be married, you could be single, because the same respect is on the single side that should be given on the side when you get married. What the problem happens when people don't honor the other person's love language. If while you're dating someone, and you may still be dating someone because you got to get single and whole in order to be in a better relationship, and so that you're hopefully you're gonna have a happy marriage, right? But when the relationship becomes abusive, there are telltale signs. One is the things that you guys used to do, your mate may not want to do it again. They don't care about it. So what happens if you like a clean house and that person knows that and they help you to clean up? Now all of a sudden they don't clean up, and then they invite people over the house. You're not cleaning up, and now you're going to invite someone to come over the house and stuff is everywhere. But most of the time when someone is invited to come over a person's house and there's a wife, they don't look at the man, they look at the wife. Like, "Oh my God, this woman do not clean up her home." I mean, I like a clean house, so I'm going to keep cleaning. Even if I'm tired, I'm going to clean up because I like a clean place, right? But what are you doing to the other person when you don't reverence or respect the things that they like, the things that you did before in the relationship that made it special? They always say, the old folks used to say to me, I'm from the South, that whatever you did to get that individual, you must do the same thing to keep that person in the relationship. So I don't drink. So for those people who wine and dine, who take the time to take the lady's napkin out and fold it across her lap, woo, that's special. Man, that is so special. But now, you don't even lift the napkin up. You did it the whole time during the dating. Now you're married and you don't even care to do that. What about you used to pull the chair out for your mate? These are little teeny things Little foxes that spoils the vine. These are little teeny things that are indicators that your mate doesn't feel the same way about you. What happens when you get home from work and your mate would run warm bath water for you, have your clothes laid out, and with a hot cup of tea or coffee waiting for you? Now, they don't lay anything out. They don't even show up to come home. It's dinner time. They don't even bother to come into the house. You don't even know what time they're coming inside the house. You call and they are not picking up their phone. That is a telltale sign that something is wrong. Something happened. Something happened. Pay attention to all of the telltale signs. It looks like we still may be having some technical difficulty. So pay attention to the telltale signs of your relationship, because it's talking and it's speaking loud. There are things that happens in a relationship that sometimes that never should happen. When there's a problem between a man and a woman, or your best friend, your girlfriends, or whomever, you shouldn't be talking to everybody else about that problem. I'm talking about telltale signs of a relationship. What happens when you don't, all the things you used to laugh at when you dated, all the things when you went out to the movies, now none of that stuff is funny anymore. What happens to all the positive affirmation that you used to give to your individual? Now, you're not giving them anything. You're not even telling them that they look nice. You're not even telling them that the outfit that they have on is amazing. You're not even telling them that something is wrong with the outfit. You don't care. What happens when you stop caring in the relationship? Oh my goodness. What happens? Why do you stop caring? Why do you go to bed and there's a gap in the middle of the bed? The Bible said don't let the sun go down on your wrath, right? You should never go to bed mad. Now, I remember when I first got married many, many years ago, I was a young lady, and I remember my husband did something that really bothered me, and it was concerning our children, and I needed help. And I was so upset because he just went and watched the game, and I had to clean up the kitchen, put away the food, and get the children ready for bed, and he was just watching the game. And so he didn't bother to help me that night. Normally he does, or he had, in the past. So I was tired. So you know what happens when you're married? You get a thump on the shoulder because it's time to perform your wifey duties, to do your wifey duties. But if you're tired because your mate didn't bother to help you with cleaning up the kitchen, putting the food away, helping with the children, just getting everything ready so that you all can transition for me time, then there is no tapping on the shoulder for a lot of people. Some people push it out and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to just do what I have to do. What happens when there's none of that? What happens when the wife is just angry with the mate? She can't talk about what happened during the day. Remember, the love language and stuff happens way before intimacy. You're talking to your mate all throughout the day, trying to help them to be good. All will determine what happens at night. So if you were disconnected during the day, chances are you're going to be disconnected at night. What happens when you don't talk about the telltale signs of a relationship just falling apart? What happens when you used to sit down for dinner and neither one of you were on the phone, when your mate took the cell phone away from you and said, hey, it's about us. This is me time. What happens? What happens when they just don't talk to you at dinner, breakfast, or lunch, and they're on their phone texting somebody else the whole entire time? But yet you're right there in front of that person. And you're husband and wives, or your boyfriend and girlfriend, or your best friend, and yet there is no dialogue or communication going on. You're on your cell phone. I don't know about you, but that would not make me feel good. I would not be okay with my mate being on their cell phone the whole time. But when we dated, he wouldn't let me pick up the phone. So what are you saying? Now I don't matter? Now I'm not important? Your phone or whomever you're talking to on the other end of that phone is more important than you spending quality time with me? You know what happens over a period of time? If this continues, then you will grow apart. And then you will look up and you will wonder what happened. I think women are, in most relationships, are more likely to forgive and bend. I think, I'm a woman now. You all could disagree. Sometimes the men are like that, but I think that we forgive. We forgive if unfaithfulness. We try to work it out, especially if you're a God-fearing person. You try to work it out. You're like, you know what, Lord, fix this situation. But what happens when it continues over and over and over again, and you are slowly unraveling, slowly losing your love language for that other person because they don't care about you. They don't help you with the children. They don't help keep the house clean. They don't cook at all. And they are always gone or have to find a reason why they have to get out of the house. Wow. That's an indication that this relationship is falling apart. What happens when the kids are crying, they are hungry, and the mate gets up and walks out of the house because they don't want to deal with it? And they leave you to deal with the children, fixing something to eat, giving them a bath, putting them down, and now they're being disrespectful to you. How are the kids affected? Do you think the children are affected when you all are arguing and screaming to the top of your lungs? Absolutely, they are affected. Children don't care about what you say as much as what you do in front of them. You can say, don't fuss, don't fight, don't drink, don't use drugs. But if you're doing all these things in front of your children, I want you to know there's a high probability that they're going to do this as well. So I want to encourage everyone to pay attention to the telltale signs in a broken relationship when it starts to fall apart. Seek counseling. Be okay talking to someone. You know, back in the day, it was just a taboo thing. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want anyone to know that you are having some issues in your relationship. No one wants to come home and not be celebrated. No, who wants to be tolerated in a relationship? You want to be celebrated. Who wants to be tolerated? Nobody does. You want to be celebrated. You want to be appreciated. Appreciated to the point where your mate is running to see you, kissing you in your face. Whatever happens to greeting your wife with a kiss? If the Bible tells us to greet each other with a holy kiss, shouldn't the wife, your partner, be deserving of a kiss when you enter the house? You haven't seen that person all day, 8, 9, or 10 hours, but instead you just come in because you may have been cheating outside and you want to get upstairs and freshen up before your wife gets close to you to smell the stench of what you've been doing during the day, or you just don't care. You don't care. What happened to the care of the relationship? What happened to you going the extra mile? Do you care about saving the relationship? Because if you don't put any focus, energy into building that relationship, it will fall apart. When relationships become abusive, the person will begin to feel it. What about verbal abuse? and you just say, "Oh, I don't like the clothes you have on." Okay. When the person values your opinion of their clothes, I don't like what you have on. I don't like the way you look. I don't like your hair. I don't like the fact that you don't have makeup on or you have too much makeup. I don't like your nails and I don't like your teeth. Before, all those things were fine. So now they're not. What happened? Why are they not fine now? It's because you lost your love for that individual, because you no longer care about that individual. You no longer feel like you want to celebrate that individual. Well, I just want you to know that all of these things are telltale signs that the relationship is falling apart. So that when a relationship is falling apart, you want to work on it. You want to find out what happened. Am I doing something that causes you not to want to be around me? Am I doing something that maybe I can't control and I may need to talk to someone because I need help? Am I doing something to wound you? Am I hurting you emotionally? Can you let me know? Because I don't know that I'm doing this. So for those of you who are in situations and you may need to talk to someone, we have our counselor on standby. Call 1-877-2-MY-LORD so that you can at least air it out, get some help. And if we can't give you the help that you need, we certainly can point you in the right direction to talk to some more clinical people. So right now, I just want to thank you so much for listening in so attentively. But I want to thank our sponsor right now, GTN. Let's find out about a little bit about GTN and what they do right now. Hi, it's time to find that spark. It's time to get it back. It's time to get that sizzle back in the relationship. It's time to find the love again. You know, if you can't do it, then it's okay to get some help. Talk to a counselor. Both of you save your relationship. Work towards what God put together. Work on your relationship. Get your spark back. Get the fire back. So I challenge you tonight, if you are noticing telltale signs in your relationship, don't just ignore them. Remember, love is just not a feeling. It's an act of kindness. It's an act of you taking action where you're showing someone that you care. You have the ability to show through your emotions, through your acts of kindness, through remembering their love language, to showing them that you care about their heart. You care about their heart. You're not going to disrespect them. You're not going to talk about them. You're not going to put them down, but you care about their heart. So that's my challenge for everyone underneath the sound of my voice. Go get your fire back. Go find the sizzle that you lost in that relationship. And if you see the telltale signs of abuse, and you know that the relationship is headed that way, please reach out to someone. Reach out to us. Call us. We are here on standby. 1-877-2 my Lord. That's 877-269-5673. We are here. And if you are in an abusive situation and you don't want anybody to know about it, call us. There is help for you. And as always, I want to give you a health tip. I'm Dr. Cathy, but I'm a holistic person. We are on the wave of detoxification for this month. So if you have not been detoxifying your liver and your kidney, if you have not been flushing out your gut area, then I'm challenging you to, after each meal, drink some lemon juice, or a teaspoon of lemon juice, or a teaspoon of lime with some water to help detox your system. It's so important. I just had someone call me today and say, oh my God, I was sharing my bottles with my daughter. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to drink the whole bottle yourself. She said, but it is flushing and running me to the bathroom, because parasites and everything, they must come out of your system. But I promise, if you follow a protocol and system every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, take 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or lime after each meal and before going to bed at night. Take 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. I promise you, you're going to get some amazing results in your body. You're going to be feeling so much better. You're going to feel lighter. Lemon water, apple cider vinegar, it is powerful to the body. And so when you are sluggish, you're tired all the time, you may need to have your system detoxified. So that's my health tip for tonight. After each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, make sure you take 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or lime. If you have sensitivity to acid, then use the lime juice, okay? It could be from a fresh lime or lemon, or it can be just from a bottle of juice, lime juice or lemon juice. Well, that's all I have for tonight. I just want to thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to assess your relationship and find out whether or not you are in a spiraled negative situation where your mate is losing his grip or her grip for you, that they don't care anymore. They don't care about spending quality time with you. Please take the time to reignite the fire. And Father, we thank you so much for this session. We ask that you bless every family. We ask that you ignite the fire in everybody's relationship and let it be so good and so amazing that it feels like they're on their honeymoon all over again. God bless you. We thank all of our sponsors. And if you want to be a sponsor, just let us know. Reach out to us, and we look forward to airing your businesses on our network. God bless you until next Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Stay warm, stay safe, and work on that relationship and